Hello, this is Jeff from leathercraft, and today we are going to look into the Vevor hat press, which is a heat press for creating hats or putting patches on hats. You could also use it for dye sublimation, anything that needs heat to be able to be pressed onto a hat. If you're familiar with my channel, you know I don't like to just do reviews because most likely you're watching this video and you want to get an understanding of how this machine works. And I also like to share the pitfalls that I run into while using this machine. Because this machine is new to me, there's mistakes to be made. So I could perhaps share those mistakes I made with you so that you'll be able to avoid them. Anyway, I want to give you a better understanding of how this machine works. So let's go ahead and dive into it. The first thing I noticed when the machine arrived was I was surprised that they can fit this in such a small box. So to let you know, the machine is smaller than it looks, which is nice because it doesn't have a very big footprint. And except for the dial, it seems to be made out of metal completely. And all your settings are on the dial. To click it on, just hit the on button. And then if you want to change the time, how long the hat stays down, you turn it to the left. And then you can turn it in either direction in order to dial in the amount of time. This sets the amount of time that the heat press actually stays on the hat. Once it sets it, both numbers will come back up, and if you want to change the temperature, now you turn the dial to the right. And at that point, you just dial in the temperature that you want. The temperature that you choose has a lot to do with the materials that you're using. The leatherette that I bought recommended to use 270, as well as 10 seconds. On the right side of the machine is a lever. This stretches the hat along the hat support so you're able to put the patch on evenly. As far as hat supports, it comes with 3 different sizes. There's the smallest one, which is 76 by 155 millimeters. There's the large one, which is 98 by 168 millimeters. And then there's the medium one, which I found fits most hats that I've been encountering, the baseball caps, which is 70 by 168 millimeters. As you see, I took it off by unscrewing 2 bolts underneath it. You don't have to unscrew them all the way, just loosen them. And when you want to put it back on, there's 2 slots that you slide it back into, and then make it even with the device that you slid it back into, and then just go ahead and tighten the bolts again. And it's locked in there, and it's ready to go. Alright, the reason I have the towels on is because I found that when the pressure comes down, it's not totally equal. The back has a lot, not a lot more, but more pressure than the front. And I watched, like I said, I do investigations, and people that in their YouTube videos found that this hack worked well to make sure that the patches were on evenly. And what I mean by that is I found that when I didn't have the towel, these corners would be down really well, but the ones underneath weren't down very well. I could stick my my fingernail underneath it. And you don't want to be able to do that. You want it to be flat on both sides. The beeping sound you hear right now is the machine saying, all right, we're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's do a hat. So I'm going to take one of the new hats, fold it out, and you want to also make sure that this lip right here is out, because you don't want to put it on the hat machine with that up. So you could take it all the way to the end if you want, but you really don't have to. Now I'm going to slide the hat on, engulf the towels, and there's a mechanism in the back. You see this knob right here? If I pull on it, watch, it'll stretch the hat. And that's how you make the hat firm on there. See like that? And of course you want it to be straight. So I want this to be as straight in the center as possible. There we go, now it's correct. Now let's stretch out the hat. We'll get a better idea if it's centered when we actually bring the heat down, because we're going to preheat the hat. Now, very important, lint brush, because you want this to be able to stick as well as possible. So we're also going to be using heat tape, and this is a special tape that doesn't get affected by the temperature. and it's used to keep the patch where you want it to be, and it doesn't affect the patch or the hat. So we're going to be using that as well. So now we're going to preheat the hat, and by preheating the hat we'll also see where this lands as far as the hat's concerned, because you don't want it to touch the rim of the hat. You want it to stay right on the body of the hat. And we're also going to use a piece of Teflon material, which is a protector from the heat. Go ahead and put that there. Now I'm going to hit this button once, and it'll come down for the 10 seconds. Twice perhaps. Alright, it landed really well. It's going to do that for 10 seconds. Come up. There you go. Now the hat is heat. I probably should have had my tape ready. That way we could adhere the leatherette. This is what we're going to be putting on there. I'm in Florida, so there's a lot of people that do fishing here, especially a buddy of mine, which is where this hat is going to. As far as the tape is concerned, it would have been better if I had this prepared. But it's very thin and it's very curly. Go ahead and cut a piece of that. And save it over here. That way we have access to it. Get another piece. Save it over here. Go ahead, you want to take the adhesive off of the tape, of the leatherette, or I should say the backing, so you could expose the adhesive. Now you want to center as much as possible on the hat, and you want to leave the same amount of space on the bottom too. So if you want, you can take a measuring ruler, one of those, and just see where we are. Pretty good, actually. All right, now we take our tape. This is exactly what it's for, to keep this in a good spot. Now pay attention to down here. You want that to be even. So you're looking for even aspect right here, and the amount of distance over here. If you want, take a ruler. About 1.5 inches. Yep, that's pretty good. All right, let's heat it up. Press the button. We're going to go the full, whoop. All right, here's a pitfall. I forgot to put the Teflon material down before I pressed the button for the heat press. Luckily, I caught it in time and there was no damage. But what can happen is if you don't put the Teflon material down, the heat could actually burn the patch and the hat. So that's really there to protect everything. So don't forget that. Learn from my mistake. Almost forgot the Teflon. I'm still new at this. That's important. It keeps burn marks off of the actual leatherette patch and protects the hat. All right, here we go. Zero blast off. Now you don't want to take the hat off right away, but you do want to check the corners. See, and they're a little, on the bottom, they're just a little up. So let me adjust the hat a little bit. Go ahead and do this again. See, this is the tweaking I mean, just finding the sweet spot for the hat. If you find the hat in the right spot, that's the chances of that happening decrease drastically. There we go. Now we're down on the corners. I don't know if you were able to see the difference because of your angle, but now the patch is on exactly how I want it. I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off. Alright, I'm going to leave the hat on the machine just to let it cool down for a little bit, because the glue, I'm sure, is still hot and you want it to adhere as well as possible. If I had the hat forward a little bit the first time I did it, then that scenario would have never took place. So now it's just a matter of fine-tuning your technique with the machine, although, besides that, it's relatively simple. Alright, I waited, about a minute. Still warm, but expected. I'm going to put the lever down now and take the hat off. Adjust the camera. Alright, this is the hat. It is adhered very well. Really simple. It's centered. Got a cute design. Let's go ahead and do another one in the form of a montage. In conclusion, the Vevor hat press did everything I needed to. Is it a perfect machine? Probably not. It's hard for me to tell because I don't run it perfectly yet. I know for sure that it does what I need. It's able to put patches on hats. It seems like the key is to align the hat perfectly so that the pressure of the heat press actually comes down equally on all sides. I'm using a hack that I've seen on many YouTube videos to do just that. If you already own a laser, the overhead to get involved in making hats is very minimal. If you're going to buy it off of Amazon, I see it for about $140, but it makes more sense to buy it off their website, which it seems to be $117. In my investigation, I ran into machines that cost up to $2,000. Highly unlikely you have to use any hack to make those work. But for me, I would much rather spend the $117 and add a few towels than spend that much money on a machine that I'm not sure how many hats I'll end up making. I also noticed through my investigation that this hat press will do dye sublimation patches perfectly well too. If that's something I end up doing, I'll definitely make a video and let you guys know how my procedure goes. Once again, thanks very much for watching. If this was helpful, please give it a like. If you'd like to subscribe, I'm always doing more videos, anything I think that, might help somebody or might be of interest to anyone. So thank you once again. And as I always say, man, let's be good to each other. We can make this world fantastic. It has a lot to do with how we treat each other. All right, man. Much love. Take care.